And the lights of Broadway begin to be turned on, they will spell out on one marquee a name that has not been seen in those parts for quite a little while. And what name is that?
What's the matter with these people? Don't they care anymore? Don't they know the difference? I'm not here. You have...
Without missing a beat in her trademark comic timing, Carol Burnett has returned to Broadway.
Coming! Yes?
Hi!
What do you want?
I just want to tell you before you say anything else that I think you are the most wonderful actress that ever lived.
Please come in.
Carol, it's been a long time since you were on Broadway. Are you excited about this?
Yes, I am. It's been 30 years. I was 12.
The wench is beaten yet again.
Dream on, Macduff!
No!
In Moon Over Buffalo, Carol is Charlotte Hay, one half of a husband and wife acting team, touring the backwaters of the theater world in a last-ditch effort to make it big. We know they won't. So do they.
Away! There'll be other movies.
The Return of the Scarlet Pimpernel. No, not like this one. We were perfect for it. I am Sir Percy Blakeney, and you are the quintessential Marguerite.
I know. Aristocratic yet vulnerable. We're on our way out, kind of, and the road is dead, and we want that one last shot at being in the movies.
Frank
Capra is going to do the remake, or a sequel, of The Scarlet Pimpernel, and we are so jealous that Ronald Colman and Greer Garson have the parts. And we tested for it, but they gave them to the big stars, and then something happens, and Frank Capra is going to fly to see us do our matinee, but all this trouble ensues backstage, and so it becomes a total farce of finding each other, getting the show on, and then of course the show goes to hell in a handbasket. It's really funny. I'm sure Miss Garson will do a perfectly adequate job.
You're right.
If that's what they want.
I agree entirely.
I met her once. Did you know that, George? She was filming Pride and Prejudice, and I was next door doing Apache Woman. She was cutting the crusts off of little tea sandwiches, and I was boiling a pig in a teepee.
Charlotte.
Happily ever after. A magical kiss counteracted the apple eventually.
When she first played Broadway, a young Carol Burnett was in the midst of taking New York by storm.
I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart, you're really a part.
Through recordings, a hit nightclub act, and television, Carol Burnett was fast becoming one of the most successful women in show business ever.
For the sake of holding you near.
Carol Burnett, who comes back to Broadway, is not the Carol Burnett of 30 years ago, and I'm not just talking about the fact that you were a mere child.
I've explained to various people about the fact that they said, well, gee, what's it like to be back on stage? We did our show as if we were on stage. That's the way I learned on the Gary Moore show. We did it as a live show in front of an audience and presented ourselves to that audience as opposed to presenting ourselves to the cameras.
Oh, no! Oh, don't leave me! Don't leave me! I love you! I love you! Oh, what is your name again?
Now cut that out!
The Gary Moore Show and Carol Burnett. It was a great match.
I love you! I love you!
Well,
I love you!
I married Melody this afternoon.
I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! How could you do that to me? How could you?
Well, it wasn't...
And then, the Carol Burnett Show. Well, that's television history. It ran 11 years and holds the record for a musical variety show.
Don't be a grouchy wumpy. Don't be a grumpy wumpy. 'Cause when you're down in the...
Television has evolved. Obviously, theater has too. You come to this with very differently than you would, say, would...
Well, sure. I've got a lot more experience. And I think over the years have learned how to take the successes and the failures better than you do when you're younger. And just, okay, that's what it's meant to be. And sometimes it's harder to deal with the success, you know, when you're starting out.
Can you forgive me, please?
No, George, I can't forgive you. You betrayed me. After
With
25
success and
years.
security, a painful memory from the early days seems funny now. During her nightclub act one night, she expected her usually enthusiastic audience. Instead, she found a crowd who just wasn't getting it. It was the first time she had ever bombed.
I was probably too cocky.
You didn't connect.
Did not. And I barely had enough applause to get me off the stage. I was so humiliated and embarrassed. Just a total bomb. So this man who was a little bit in his cups was walking towards me, and the hall was narrow, and he was kind of bumping, and he'd had a few too many. And we were this close, and he said, "Aren't you the little lady who was just on downstairs just now?" And he was very kind of sweet, and I said, "Yes." He said, "Whew, you stink." He went into the men's room. And I went, whoa. But it was probably one of the best lessons I could have had starting out, because I did stink. It was terrible. And I went on a little more humble on the midnight show, and it went better.
That man went on to become a great critic.
Probably did. He was on the money there, I'll tell you.
If you have enough experience at this, you recognize that you're not going to hit a home run every time you
can't. There's
come up
no
to the
way.
plate.
As I told you earlier, my grandmother used to say, "Leave it lay where Jesus flung it." She was from Arkansas. That was it's like, let it go. You called me the world's oldest living ingenue.
I merely mentioned that a woman in her late 50s should not try to play St. Joan. It's like watching Eleanor Roosevelt play Peter Pan.
I happen to admire Eleanor Roosevelt.
So do I, but I don't want to watch her fly out the window.
But you've had enough experience doing this in so many different arenas that you also can do it with some confidence that I mean, you bring a lot to the party.
We bring our experience and our love of it, and that's all you can do.